Namaste, yogis. So today let's look at shoulder and neck alignment and try to release some of that tension. And, I think if you're like me, many of us use, electronic devices a lot. And we've developed culture of text head or forward head kind of a syndrome. And so what this class will look at is releasing some of that tension and trying to find what that feels like to have things lined up well. So mostly a lot of stretching. I'd like for you to come to a comfortable seat. So go ahead and grab a blanket and fold it in half a time or two, or grab 2 blankets and sit up tall. And let's just take a moment to arrive and align the spine in as upright a position as you can. Simply rest your hands on your lap. And just notice as you come to sitting, how does it feel? Do you have a sense of any tension or holding in the neck or jaw even? Sometimes the eyes will feel strained. And just pause and try not to fix it or judge it, but just notice what the truth is. How are you living in this body right now? And then let's begin to slowly shift it with awareness so you can remember how to come back to it. So guide your shoulder heads way back, and they might even lift up to the ears. That's fine. And then as you guide them back, draw them down and down and down until your neck feels crazy long. And then do 2 things at the same time if you can. Bottom sternum moves straight down, back of skull moves straight up without losing those shoulder blades down. And many of you will feel a little stretch, back of the neck, across the shoulders, just with that. Now we're going to loosen up the neck to start. So take a big inhale. And as you exhale, think about your chin dropping towards your chest, simply looking down. And then just keep going, rolling the crown of the head down until you get a little stretch in the back of your neck. Keep the shoulder blades down. And then roll up from there. So send the hips down, roll up, and then begin to go the other way, lifting the chin. Now, if you have tender neck or you're past, 60, feel free to hold the head as you go back. Sometimes this direction can be really too much. And then we'll do this on the breath. So rise up on an inhale and roll down on the exhale. Keep the shoulder blades down so you stretch the back of the neck. Inhale, rise. Lengthening up, lifting the chin, taking it up and back as much as you comfortably can. Again, go up with the back of the neck, tuck the chin, and roll down. And inhaling, lengthen, lift, and go up, stretching the front of the throat. How about one more? Go up with the back of the skull, and then drop the chin and roll down. And then roll back up, lengthening. The tail drops, the chin floats up, and lift the back of the skull and come on back to center. And see if you can feel really center. And look straight out for a moment. And then, this is a little funny, but what I want you to do is what we call chicken head. So push your face forward, straight forward. Inhale. And then exhale, pull your face straight back. And when you get that, it'll feel really funny, I know, but you want to feel the sides of the neck. Those muscles get really weak if you have text head. Inhale forward and exhale back. And inhale forward and exhale back, right? And if the chin goes up or down, you're not going to get the work. Try to keep the face flat. And 1 or 2 more, your own rhythm is fine. And the work is not the forward part. You probably already do that. The work is taking that head back and feeling the stabilizing. That's it. Good. And last round back and forth. And then come back again and hold it. Drop the shoulders and lengthen the back of the skull and lengthen the tailbone. And you might be well aligned. Now let's take the side stretch. So let's take the right arm up and all the way over. Bring your hand to the mat, that opposite hand, and just breath by breath, start to lean onto that hand. And you're going to stretch the whole side of your spine. And notice if the shoulders have creeped up, try to keep them down, up and over. And then try to let the crown of the head drop. So the head, rather than holding it up, is part of that curve. And you might get a nice stretch through the side of your neck there. Take a breath here. And now go slow. Turn to look down. Keep your chest open to the side. Look down. And then play a little bit. Draw the chin to your chest. And most of us will feel a stretch on the side of the neck, sort of between the side and the back of the neck. And you can play. Bring the head closer to that arm and tuck. Just play a couple of different spaces. There's 3 sections of a muscle called the scalene back there that gets really tight, especially if you have forward head syndrome. And then slowly, slowly, let that go. Turn your head to face front. Drop the bottom ear. Take the top arm up. Turn the palm down. Keep dropping the bottom ear. Push the arm down, and you'll get a nice stretch from the ear to that shoulder. That's your middle trapezius. Use the hand on the floor. Sequentially roll up. Inhale. Exhale. And you should feel very nice and very lopsided. Second side, inhale. And walk that hand out just enough so you can lean on it easily. Check the shoulders, down the back. Top arm lengthens. And you've got that same external rotation like we usually work. Try to drop the bottom ear as best you can. Ground both hips. And then when you feel like you've got some opening, you feel steady, slowly turn just the head to look down. And then just explore as you tuck the chin and try a couple of different angles until you find the one that gives you a little release. Take a breath into that stretch. And slowly turn your head to face front again. Drop that bottom ear. Take the top arm up. Turn the palm to face down. Keep dropping the ear. Gently push that arm down. And stretching that middle trapezius all the way out. And then use the hand on the floor. Push into it and sequentially roll up through the spine. Interlace the hands and round the spine, opening that upper back. And lift up high, inhale. And then relace the hands, the other on top. Press forward, inhale, and round again, exhale. And inhale, rise. And exhale, release. Good. Let's take a twist. Now, if twists are hard for you, take your right hand on the inside of that right knee. If they're easy for you, take it all the way across. See what feels better. And the main thing is to roll shoulders back, lift up tall, inhale, and just turn, in this case, to your left, up and around. Each inhale, get taller without thrusting the ribs forward. Push the arm against that knee, whatever side you're on. And now keep both shoulders dropping out of the ears. And slowly turn your head so the chin is over the sternum. And then keep going. Resist your back shoulder back as you turn your head all the way to the front shoulder. And you should get a nice feeling of length along your neck. Final inhale, crown of the head floats. And exhale, unwind. Second side. So same version as you did on your first side. Take the hand, push into the knee, either side. Get tall, inhale. Opposite arm goes diagonally back. And begin to turn. Rolling the whole spine up and around. And you may notice one of your shoulders curls. Keep guiding the fronts of the shoulders back and down. So turn the head all the way back to start. Feel into that. Crown of the head floating up, almost like you had a string through the crown of the head, lifting you. Inhale first. You check that left shoulder. Is it still opening back? Slowly turn your head. Pause when you're in center, so chin pretty much over the sternum. And think about your back shoulder staying back as you slowly turn the head. Now to the front shoulder. Take a breath. Feel into the neck. Feel where the neck and the torso meet. And then release. Unwind. Rest your hands on your lap and just pause. Maybe blink your eyes. Can you feel that head back a little bit? Your shoulders dropped. Nice. Change the cross of your legs. Stretch them straight and change. Find a similar seat. And let's do just one last thing. I'd like for you to grab your thumbs and spread the fingers Roll the outer arms down, reach forward through the hands. And inhale, take your arms about halfway up, pause. I want you to feel as if you were pulling your thumbs apart and you're hugging the arms in against that. Reach through the pinky fingers and take the arms as high as you can. Now the arms are going to want to roll back, outer arms back, and you're going to resist. You're going to roll the outer arms forward and reach taller, up and back. It doesn't matter how high your arms get. Go for length and ease in your neck. Maybe change the other thumb. Recommit to the rotation. Go up and back. One more stretch. Inhale. Keep the arms high. Release the thumbs. Palms face in. And release the arms all the way down. Good. All right, let's come on up to standing. And if you're not at the wall, find your wall. Come on close to a wall. And you're going to face sideways and put your palm at the wall. And I want you to place the palm in such a way that the heel of the hand is at the same level as your armpit. And your feet are close enough to the wall so that they're directly under you. And your feet can be hip width or together, whatever's comfortable for you. A lot of choices here. The most intense version is the fingertips pointing straight up. And the least intense is the hand pointing straight down. And the middle ground is hand back. Good. So breathe. Push into your hand. Good. Make your skull level. So not only are you looking dead ahead, chin over the sternum, but your shoulders are back and down. And sometimes when we try really hard, we kind of exaggerate our posture. So let your front ribs kind of soften and feel the back ribs full. Let the back of the pelvis drop. So you're in Tadasana. You all know this. Nicely done. And some of you will find as we hold just a couple more breaths that it's almost a tingly little stretch. If you're not feeling anything, good for you. Don't worry about it. Most of you are going to be feeling something. Last breath. Both shoulders broad. And that same feeling of crown of head easily, effortlessly floating up. Inhale. Check to see that the shoulder blade is down. Keep going. That's nice. And release. The second side. Now turn around. I would try the same version. And if you've never done it before, try all three and see which one is the best in terms of which way to face your hand. See which one. We're all different. See which one is the most intense for you. And only go as deep as it feels like you can manage for several breaths. Feet under the hips. Soften ribs. And while this can be intense work, try to keep it out of your face. Keep the face really soft. The breath is flowing. And one way to escape, meaning to avoid the stretch, is to let that shoulder curl up. So if you'll externally rotate that arm so the outer arm rolls down. This is the hand at the wall. Outer upper arm rolls down and try to pull the shoulder blade down as, again, that skull floats up against it. Breathing as much into the back ribs as anywhere else. Good. Last breath or so. Good. And if you are feeling that little tingly stuff, that's actually really kind of interesting anatomically speaking. There's the nerves live inside a sort of a tube, which is called a myelin sheath. And even if your nerves are fairly long, and that's sort of an image, it's not really how it works, but that sheath has got to stretch out. If you've ever had an injury in your wrist or elbow or shoulder, those sheaths kind of shrink up. And so what you're doing is you're stretching those, and that's that tingly feeling. Is that releasing? Enough? And release. Good. Shake it out if you need to. And then turn back to your first side, and we're going to do a similar thing. Step a little closer to the wall, and you're going to put your forearm at the wall, elbow at the level of the shoulder. Fingers point up. And it's the same thing here. External rotation, what that means is the back of the arm rolls down, and that helps to keep the shoulder blade out of the ear. Keeps that neck, side neck long. And just push into that forearm. Good. And some of you are already going to feel something. Keep pressing the thumb into the wall. Keep pulling shoulder blade down the back. And then if this is like very little sensation, then slowly turn your chest away from the wall. Just kind of walk your feet And go slow. Some of you are going to get a big, big stretch either in your pecs or in that anterior deltoid, the front of the shoulder. Take a few inches, and if that's manageable, turn more. Good, and breathe. Back of the neck is long. The breath is across the front chest. Keep pressing that inner forearm, thumb into the wall. Keep rolling that upper outer arm down, that right shoulder blade down. Good. And this is not, you're not a better person if you get further. Just find a way to make it work. Inhale. And I want you to slowly unwind as you exhale. And then release and right over to your second side. So elbows straight out from the center of the shoulder, right at armpit level. And start with your feet right underneath you, facing dead ahead. And feel both collarbones wide, almost like you were doing both arms. That's it. And then, it might be the same, but it might not. So if you can, start to stand away. So turn away from that arm, just breath by breath. And so if this is your dominant arm, it might be tighter. Right, just breath by breath. Keep inviting the shoulder blade to move down out of the ear. Keep pressing the inner hand, thumb side into the wall as you roll upper outer arm, shoulder blade down the back. Feel the breath under your collarbones. Soften throat, tongue, jaw. Try to have a little bit of fun. Inhale. And slowly unwind, exhale, release the arms down, just let them hang, feel the effects. Good. And again, for some of you, this is like, wow, this is a lot, I really need this. For some of you, this isn't so bad. But probably some of it will be very, very helpful. Okay, let's just go into downward dog now and see how all that opening feels. I like to do my down dog after this series at the wall. So your thumb and your first finger are going to touch the wall. If you're very tight in the shoulders, I'm going to ask you to do what we call puppy dog. And your hands are going to be right at hip bone height, and you're going to just walk back, straightening the arms. And again, if you're really tight in the shoulders, you're coming back from an injury, let's try this. Turn your hands out a little bit as you stretch back. So there's width, outer arms rolling down, super broad, a little too low here. That's it. And if you're in the puppy dog or if you're in the classic dog, feel free to put a little bend in the knees so you can easily lengthen the spine up and back. And just see how it feels, right? Even though we haven't done a downward dog today so far, we have opened the shoulders and softened the neck. Do you feel a little more spaciousness? Do you feel a little more ease maybe in the neck? And I want you to try. Keep rolling the upper outer arms back. Let the head hang. See how that feels. Can you broaden your shoulder blades more? Tuck your chin all the way to your chest. Can you roll the outer arms down more? And then keep that breath and bring your head up until your ears are directly in line with those upper arms. And for most people, this is the optimum positioning so that you're not dropping into text head. Good. Now push that floor away. You got one more breath. Inhale. Drop your knees and rest. Take child's pose or just sit on your heels, whatever feels more comfortable. Let your shoulders rest. Very good, you guys. So most of the work we've done thus far is opening the arms this way to the side and this way above. I'd like for you now to come on up to standing. And you know what? I'm going to ask you guys to stagger, if you don't mind, and face the wall. What? Like a stick up. Good. And then stretch your arms straight side. Good. And what I'd like for you to notice here is that with your arms straight out, palms down, this is called neutral. And I'd like for you to roll your arms so that the palms face back, the upper outer arms roll down. And if you keep going, it's a little bit miserable. And it kind of feels like your shoulder blades come up and sort of feels like a turtle shell. Now I want you to go the other way. Externally rotate those arms. And it's pretty easy to roll the forearms this way. concentrate on the upper arms. And as you do that, notice how your shoulder blade broadens on your back. This position, you don't need to remember this, but this is called upward rotation of the shoulder blade. And it's this position that allows us to take our arms up safely. Let's just go back and forth and feel it. So turn the arms in, roll, roll, roll all the way until you get that sort of shoulders forward turtle feeling, and then externally rotate. And as you externally rotate, you'll feel the chest open. That's your inhale feeling. And then exhale, turn in. So let's do that just a couple of times. And what you're doing is working your rotator cuff. Inhale, rotate, externally, and turn in, and that's your exhale all the way. Good. Now, bring your arms into a cactus shape. Try to get your elbows straight out. And we're going to do the same thing. So on your inhales, won't be a big movement, but try to press your forearms back. And not only are you spreading the shoulder blades, but you're pushing the bottom tip in. And this is the back bend feeling. And then exhale, go the other way. Go slow. This can be very challenging, especially if you do have a rotator cuff issue. But this is healing when you're ready for it. And on the breath, inhale, external rotation. And exhale, internal rotation. Try to push the palms back. Don't worry about how far. Inhaling. And exhaling. And focus as much on the movement of your shoulder blades as the movement of the arms. One more time. And if you get fatigued with this, know that it's normal, and maybe you can do it more often. And there. Good. And then come back to external one last time. Keep the external rotation. Feel how broad your shoulder blades are. Notice how the bottom tip of your shoulder blades has spread. Turn the forearms to face each other. So now the whole arm is in external rotation. And then start to lift the elbows higher, straightening your arms now, and feeling how those shoulder blades have moved even more into upward rotation, which means that your shoulder socket is now facing to the sky, or nearly so, keeping those arm bones in the socket. If you try to pull your shoulder blades down your back, you will get compression at the shoulder joint. So let the shoulder blades broaden and lift, and then soften the muscles of the back of the neck. Final breath. And release the arms down. Beautiful. Yay. Just turn sideways and step your feet wide apart on your mat. And if your shoulders are really tight, then you're going to grab a strap and hold the strap behind you. If you can, interlace your hands behind the back. Get a good grip. Ground your feet vigorously. Inhale, get tall. Let your chest roll up. Shoulders back. And just forward bend. Take the head to the floor. Good. Don't worry about how low you get. If it's a lot of intensity in your hamstrings or even in your lower back, bend your knees a little. Totally fine to practice it that way. And let's focus on the shoulders. So first, just let the shoulders drop, the head drop. Doesn't matter how far the arms go. This is a lot about, what you inherited from your parents. If you know you can hyperextend your elbows, try to put a little bend in those elbows. I know it feels funny. Sorry. Now here's the work. Drop the skull to the floor. Bring your hands slightly away from the floor and pull your shoulder blades up away from the neck. Then keep that and try to move the upper arms down. Then you're going to get the stretch where we want it, not just in the elbows. Good. How about, try this. Can you relace the hands the other way? It might feel different. It might not. It's kind of interesting to play with that. And then drop the skull again. Once again, pull your shoulder blades up. You can even push them in as you take those upper arms a little further overhead. This is not a big movement. And a last breath. Press your feet, and on an inhale, lead with those hands and come all the way up to standing. Pull your hands towards the floor. Let the shoulders roll even further open. Should feel really good. And release your arms. And just step your feet together. Very well done. Good. All right, we're going to come back to sitting, and you might grab either your blanket or a block to sit on, and we're going to do Gomukhasana. So sit on something. So Gomukhasana is the one I like to use a blanket folded kind of thin like this, and I sit on it so that you can cross your knees. Then your knees will stack and your feet are back. And you know, some of us, the hips just aren't open and they might not ever get that far open. So if it's better for you to sit in a simple cross leg, that's fine too. If your shoulders are tight, have your strap nearby. Let's start with the right arm, please. Take your arm straight up to the ceiling. Good. And give that arm external rotation, what we just worked on, outer arm forward. Take the other hand and grab a hold of the upper arm and recommit to external rotation. Keep it, lift it up higher. And then just bend your elbow and walk your hand down your back. Good. Now, if you know your shoulders are tight, you will place your strap around that shoulder and grab a hold of that strap. Good. Now, keep that elbow as high and as rotated as possible. Take the other arm out, turn it in, and then take the hand behind you. Walk the hand up and either grab fingertips or grab your strap. It's totally fine to hold a strap. Once you get in, the arm that's behind you that you used the internal rotation to get in, it's necessary to get in. Then you try to externally rotate that arm, taking it back. And this is the Gomukhasana, the cow face pose. I don't know if you see a cow face. I'm still looking for it myself. This is a big stretch for most people. And one of the things that's so amazing about this and so essential for yogis is that it works the arms in completely opposite directions. And you will find one side's a lot easier than the other. And you just got to be patient. Sometimes it's helpful to work the tight side twice. So if you discover that you've got one side that's tighter, start with it, do the easy side, then come back to the tight side, especially if there's been an injury or an issue. How y'all doing? Breathe in. All right, nice and slow release. Stretch the arms straight up to the ceiling. And then release them down beside you. All right, there's a fun way to change the legs. So if you'll take your hands, the top leg, take your hands there beside the foot and just swivel, 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 and sit back down. Kind of feel like a little kid. Adjust. And again, so you're stacking your knees if you can. You're opening your legs a little wider if you need to. And second side. So take the arm up. Find that full, set that strap if you're going to need it. Find that full external rotation. Give it some height. And use your other hand. Give a little grip. Because for most of us, it's hard to maintain that external rotation. More height. Bend the elbow. Take the hand back and pause. And if this is your tight side, you might choose to grab that strap and set it up. Good. Try not to thrust the ribs forward. Keep them soft. Good girl. And then the other arm goes side. You start by turning in and press back. Bend the elbow. Take it up your back. Grab a hold of the fingers. Some people can grab their wrists. Imagine that. And then breathe. Probably if you're doing this practice, you can't do that. Big breaths. And then just notice, do you need to remind the neck to soften on either side? Can you keep on lifting the top elbow externally, rotating, elbow up and back? And then can you roll that lower arm into external rotation, which will broaden the chest as best you can? One more breath or two. For most of us, it's the arm that's behind that's challenging. See if that's true for you. And I invite you to be really patient with this work. This is strong work. And if you can get to the place where you can get this asymmetrical work really balanced, then your neck and your upper thoracic spine will stay really, really healthy. This is very important to have this symmetry. Y'all done? Okay, release. Stretch the arm straight up to the ceiling. And just give it an easy reach. Roll the head, the neck side to side, just easy. Inhale. Release your arms down. Good. And then let's swivel again. Put your hands beside the front leg foot. Swivel around. Whee! I love that. Okay. Let's put the props off to the side. We're going to lie on our backs and finish with an easy twist. So lie back, bring your arms into cactus. And I would like for you to have your blanket ready for the final Shavasana. So if you think you're going to need a blanket under the skull, just have that nearby. And then feet on the floor to start, arms in a wide cactus. It should feel good. See if you've got some nice width across the upper back. Let your arms rest, broad and open, and just see how it feels now. And then when you're ready, you can shift your hips to one side if you like. Bring the knees to the chest. Let's take the knees to the right. And if your low back is tender, grab that blanket maybe and put it under your thighs. Make it a little easier. Bring your attention to the left arm. Sense one more time today that arm is in external rotation. So you're rolling the back of the arm down as you broaden. And imagine the breath in that left shoulder, inhaling. And exhaling, let that whole upper arm get heavy. You can turn the head into that arm or not, whatever feels better in your neck. This is not about achieving a shape. It's about releasing and opening. Inhale. Exhale slowly. Bring your legs up. If you shifted your hips, shift them to the other way and right over to the second side. Good. Roll that arm externally. Breathe now across the opposite side, letting that arm get heavy as you breathe into that chest. And a big inhale. And exhale, slowly unwind. And start with your feet on the floor. And if your neck is really tender, I would recommend putting a folded blanket under your skull. And if you know you tend to have a flat neck, then you might unfold that blanket just a little bit and make a wee roll. And sometimes just one roll is enough. Sometimes a little more is enough. This will go under your neck and your skull will rest on the flat. So go ahead and come into final Shavasana, supporting your skull, your neck, relaxing your legs out underneath you. And just pause as you lie back and blink your eyes closed. And notice how you feel. Do the shoulders feel a little more open? And if nothing else, just notice the awareness, the mindfulness you've built into the shoulder girdle, into the neck, and your skull placement. And as you rest here for at least another couple of moments, I'd just like for you to kind of celebrate the fact that you took time to understand your neck, your shoulder girdle, to release, to open. And again, above all, to build mindfulness. Because as we have mindfulness in the practice, we can bring that into our lives. So next time you're at the computer or you're driving, you might catch yourself in a funny position and you'll remember what it feels like to feel soft and open and mindful. And I think that's good yoga. Namaste. Thanks for practice.